शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मच्छ्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वटुकत्रयं पदयुगं दूतीक्रमं मण्डलम् वीराञ्जष्टचतुष्कषष्टिनवकं वीरावळी पञ्चकं श्रीमन्मालिनी मन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम्। श्रीविमर्शानन्दनाथं सत्याम्बासहितं गुरुं हृत्पद्मकर्णिका मध्ये भावयेत् सर्वसिद्धये। श्रीभासुरानन्दनाथाय नमः। श्रीभास्करराय गुरुमण्डलाय नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्।
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः, श्री मात्रे नमः, नमस्ते. So today is day 2 of week 2 sadhana of Soundaryalahari. Yesterday we saw why the Devaloka women or Apsaras 3 want to be near the vicinity of Devi. Today we will learn the 13th verse where Bhagavad Pada will explain about the power of Devi's side glance. Before we get there, we will now learn to chant the 13th verse and then followed by the musical rendition of the 13th verse.
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नरं वर्षीयाम्सं
नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं
नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं
तवापाङ्गालोके
तवापाङ्गालोके तवापाङ्गालोके
पतितम् अनुधावन्ति शतशः
पतितम् अनुधावन्ति शतशः पतितम् अनुधावन्ति शतशः
तवापाङ्गालोके पतितमनुधावन्ति शतशः
तवापाङ्गालोके पतितम् अनुधावन्ति शतशः तवापाङ्गालोके पतितम् अनुधावन्ति शतशः
galadveṇībandhāḥ
galadveṇībandhāḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ
kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
kucakalaśavisrastasicayā kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo
vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ.
So kāñcyaḥ will, when vigalita will become kāñcyo vigalitaḥ, and dukūlāḥ yuvatayaḥ, that it is dropped, it is dukūlā yuvatayaḥ.
So we'll now recite all the 4 lines together. Naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ. Once again, naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ. Naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ. So now we will learn the recitation of this 13th verse in Gaule Ragam from Priya, Paramesh, Mahinta and Karthik.
varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ
naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ
naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ
tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ naraṃ varṣīyāṃsaṃ nayanavirasaṃ narmasu jaḍaṃ tavāpāṅgāloke patitamanudhāvanti śataśaḥ
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं तवापङ्गालोके पतितमनुधावन्ति शतशः galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं तवापङ्गालोके पतितमनुधावन्ति शतशः
galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ
नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं तवापङ्गालोके पतितमनुधावन्ति शतशः galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ नरं वर्षीयाम्सं नयनविरसं नर्मसु जडं तवापङ्गालोके पतितमनुधावन्ति शतशः galadveṇībandhāḥ kucakalaśavisrastasicayā haṭhāttruṭyatkāñcyo vigalitadukūlā yuvatayaḥ.
Now let's look into the meanings of the 13th verse. We will learn in the 13th verse about the power of Devi's side glance. We already saw, Bhagavad Pada already mentioned about the power of Devi's side glance, apāṅgāte labdhva. Because of her side glance, Kamadeva is able to conquer the entire world. Now the Apsaras, even if they are not able to stand in front of her, all they wanted, we saw in the 12th verse, all they wanted is to at least stand on the sides and get a side glance of Devi. Because of Devi's side glance, the Apsara Stris like Menaka got the power to attract even great tapasvis like sage Vishwamitra. Such is the power of Devi's side glance. Bhagavad Pada says, even if a person who is old, ugly looking, and is not having any ability to attract others, if he is able to contemplate on Devi constantly, and if he worships her with devotion, he is blessed with a side glance of Devi and gets a beautiful body, tejas, and power of attraction in abundance, compelling hundreds of beautiful young women to follow him, not thinking about any social restrictions or moral conventions.
Ability to understand the import of any poem requires us to know some basics of poetry. This will help us understand the actual meaning the poet wants to convey. Poets use many ways to express their ideas. We need to understand different figures of speech called Vakya Alankara Shastra or the science of expression. I will explain this by giving examples. Mahakavi Kalidasa, great Devi Upasaka, was good in use of different figures of speech like Upama Alankara, Rupaka Alankara, Utpreksha Alankara. But he was master of Upama Alankara or providing similes. In Raghuvamsa, he starts with Upama Alankara with the word Vag Artha Iva, meaning just like the word and its meaning cannot be separated. Shiva and Parvati, the universal parents of this creation, are always one. Jagatah Pitaro Vande. Also, let us see Kumara Sambhava Mahakavya of Kalidasa. When Kamadeva enters the abode of Shiva, that is Kailasha, the quiet environment suddenly becomes very colorful and festive. The barren trees bloom, honeybees start buzzing, and there is so much noise. Nandikeshvara, who is responsible for making sure Shiva's penance is not disturbed, signals everyone to be quiet. Because there's so much noise, all the animals started the nature of the animals at that time before Kamadeva enters the vanam or the forest was quiet. Now they all got regenerated. So much energy, and that big noise is causing lot of disturbance to Shiva. Nandikeshvara becomes very angry and he says, Ma chapalayeti. It's like when your teacher says, shh, don't, there's no noise. When he says, Ma chapalayeti ganan veneshit, the next verse is very beautifully described by Kalidasa. Nishkampa vriksham nibhritad virepam mūkāndajam shantamirga pracharam tat shāshanāt kānanameva sarvam chitra arpita arambha iva avatasthe. So in here he used both the Upama Alankara and the Rupaka Alankara. Upama is comparing one with another, and Rupaka is where when you compare two things, but here the two things already merge. You cannot even separate. That is a Rupaka. Immediately, the whole forest becomes silent. Bees is always buzzing, that is their nature, but bees also stop their flutter. All trees and animals remain still. This stillness confuses a person who is witnessing this to think, are they seeing a real forest or they are just looking at a beautiful painting on a canvas? One of our devotees visited the sacred city of Madurai in South India and took a panoramic picture of Madurai. When I saw the picture, I exclaimed, wow, seeing the picture is just seeing Madurai up close. But we see pictures all the time and experience this type of emotion. This is nothing new, as we all see many pictures and relate it to a real thing. But in this verse, I just explained before, in the Kumara Sambhava, Kalidasa flips or changes the idea. Here he says, the actual forest looks like a picture. Then we know the story of Kamadeva being burnt by Shiva and Parvati's wedding. Now let us see the esoteric significance of this episode as related to Srividya Upasana. Kamadeva's entry into the forest where Shiva resides is the extreme emotions we experience due to the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas which agitate our mind. This agitation in our mind is caused by the action of chakras below our throat and inhibits our spiritual sadhana. Here, Parvati is our Kundalini Shakti, which is stuck in Mooladhara Chakra due to our unrestrained behavior, which happens because our indriyas are sense organs represented by Kamadeva. Nandikeshvara's order to be quiet is the command from our Ajna Chakra to control our indriyas or sense organs, and the forest becoming like a picture implies stillness of our mind and getting our indriyas under control. Nandikeshwara's expression also points us to follow the path of dharma, meaning following the Vedic injunctions. The burning of Kamadeva is the ritual burning of our body during Bhuta Shuddhi using our Ida and Pingala nadis, and Manmata, getting his life back, is placing the jiva purified by the nectar of Amrita flowing from the feet of united Shiva Shakti.
Now you all will be able to appreciate and understand what Bhagavad Pada wants to convey through the 13th verse. He wants to emphasize the importance of satisfaction of one's desires and passions, and as Kama Purushartha, one of the 4 Purusharthas or aim of human life. Also, he wants us to know the concept of Kamakala Dhyanam, an essential part of the Sri Vidya Puja. This he explains in this verse that due to Devi's grace on a person, what normally is impossible in day-to-day life becomes possible due to Devi's grace or even a side glance. Scholars consider the women running after such a person as Upanishads, as Upanishad is a feminine gender word. So when Bhagavad Pada says women follow the person who is ugly or old and has no ability to attract anybody, when such a person contemplates and worships Devi, many beautiful young women follow him. It just means that Upanishads would follow this kind of a person. That is, he would also
Get
some
Brahmagyana.
Brahmagyana, and some even have written in their bhashyams saying that these women just mean that the 10 siddhis or powers of Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Ishitva, Vashitva, and Prakamya, Bhukti, Ichha, Prapti, and Sarvakama siddhis. All these siddhis are referred here as beautiful young women. It just means that this man who was not capable of anything, but because of his devotion to Devi and his constant contemplation, he gets to enjoy all these siddhis in his life. So with this, we just learned 13th verse. We will move on to the 14th verse. We will now learn the pronunciation part of the 14th verse.
Kṣitau śataśaḥ
kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadvisamadhikapañcāśadudake kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadvisamadhikapañcāśadudake
kṣitau śataśaḥ
kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiः
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiः
चतुरधिकपञ्चाशदनिले
चतुरधिकपञ्चाशदनिले
हुताशे द्वाषष्टिश्चतुरधिकपञ्चाशदनिले
हुताशे द्वाषष्टिश्चतुरधिकपञ्चाशदनिले हुताशे द्वाषष्टिश्चतुरधिकपञ्चाशदनिले
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशत्
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशत्
मनसि च चतुः षष्टिरिति ये दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशत् dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi catuḥṣaṣṭiriti ye.
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि च चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि च चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि च चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि च चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि च चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये
मयूखाः तेषामप्युपरि
मयूखाः तेषामप्युपरि मयूखाः तेषामप्युपरि
तव पादाम्बुजयुगम्
तव पादाम्बुजयुगम् तव पादाम्बुजयुगम्
मयूखास्तेषामप्युपरि तव पादाम्बुजयुगम्
मयूखास्तेषामप्युपरि तव पादाम्बुजयुगम् मयूखास्तेषामप्युपरि तव पादाम्बुजयुगम्. Now we will recite all the 4 lines of the 14th verse. kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi catuḥṣaṣṭiriti ye mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi catuḥṣaṣṭiriti ye mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam. I know it's kind of a tongue twister for those who are learning it for the first time, but I think with constant practice and listening, you should be able to get the pronunciation easily. Now we will listen to Priya, Parmesh, Mahinta and Karthik to recite this verse, 14th verse in Gaulai Raga.
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile kṣitau ṣaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi catuḥṣaṣṭiriti ye
divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi catuḥṣaṣṭiriti ye
divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये दिवि dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये
mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
दिवि द्विषट्त्रिंशन्मनसि चतुष्षष्टिरिति ये
mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
दिवि dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam दिवि dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśadudake hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
kṣitau śaṭpañcāśaddvisamadhikapañcāśaddake
hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile
दिवि
dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam
kṣitau śataśaḥ hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam kṣitau śataśaḥ hutāśe dvāṣaṣṭiścaturadhikapañcāśadanile divi dviḥṣaṭtriṃśanmanasi च चतुःषष्टिरिति ये mayūkhāsteṣāmapyupari tava pādāmbujayugam.
Let's look into the meanings of the 14th verse.
In this verse, the exalted nature of Devi's feet above the Sahasrara or top of her head is described in detail. When we discussed the 10th verse, we learnt about the mantra from Yajurveda Brahmana we use when performing Guru Pada Puja. Charanam Pavitram tu Amritasya Dhara Bhaguda Dohamanam Charananno Loke Suddhitam Dadhatu. This nectar flowing from the feet of united Shiva Shakti illuminates and energizes the sadhaka's body, the sthula, sukshma and karana shariras. Sharira means body.
The use of mayūkhāha, the word mayūkhāha, has many meanings, and one of them is kalas or rays from the moon. They are supposed to be 360 in number, representing the 360 days in a lunar year. These kalas or rays cause the sadhaka to be shining with tejas and ever illuminated. The three devatas, Agni, Surya, and Soma or moon, derive their power from the feet of Devi when Amrita gushes from her feet in Sahasrara Chakra, as Agni, Surya, and Chandra are always doing Namaskara to Devi. With that power, Agni keeps a sadhaka very energetic, Surya gives shine and tejas, and Soma gives peace and contentment. Srividya Sadhana is also called Chandrakala Vidya, and worshipping of Tithi Nityas is an important part of Srividya worship. We will discuss in detail about the mayūkhās and their relationship with each of the 6 chakras when we learn shlokas 36 to 41. So with this, we complete today's session. Please join us for the day 3 of the week 2 sadhana of Soundaryalahari. The same time, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.